On today's episode of WatchJRGo, I ask you guys to guess what car I bought, and well, here it is. I hope you're as excited as I am. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today we find out how much a fixed Audi A4 is worth. And the answer is a broken Saab 9.3 Aero. It's not just any old 9.3. This is, of course, the Turbo Aero. And one of my friends was looking at the Audi and he was like, you know, I hate driving manual sometimes. Sometimes it's fun and a lot of times I hate it. I was like, dude, I completely agree. And about 5 minutes later, he was kind of just standing across the street from me and I was like, hey, you want an automatic Audi with a turbo? He was like, yeah. So here we go, we just traded straight across. We turned the Audi A4 that I had, how much money in? 1,300 plus 1,400 plus paying John, about 1,600, a little less than $1,600 total. A little less than $1,600 total was in the Audi, and we've turned that into, of course, a incredibly rare yet very fun Saab 9.3 Aero. And of course, today we're rocking the Saab Heritage Museum shirt from eSaab Parts. Those guys rock. If you ever need Saab parts, when I had my 9.5 Aero, they absolutely hooked me up. They have all the OEM stuff that you can't find anywhere. Somehow they have it all in stock. So shout out to those guys, and of course we are back in the Saab gang. Let's take a look at this car and talk about what makes the 9.3 Aero special. Many of you guys have already noticed because the hood is open. If you're a Saab enthusiast, you might know what year it is already. This is the first year. Wow, that fire we got it going outside is really going. I just...
Is our Ford Focus on fire?
I hope not. I just noticed all the smoke and it was a lot.
Oh, well, you got that branch that's just randomly sticking out.
Well, that branch wouldn't fit on the fire. We don't have a chainsaw, so you know what I did.
Just throw it over. Whatever, it's fine.
All right, before we got distracted, many of you that are Saab enthusiasts will have already noticed that this has a V6 in it, and you might have noticed the snail sitting in front of it there. The first year of the turbocharged V6, the 2.8 liter T. And this thing makes like 283 horsepower. And not only that, we'll get more into this as we go around the car, but this one is already flashed, came with the EFI Live tuner, and is ready to be turned up even more. So, I already mentioned it's a manual as well, the 6-speed manual, so it's kind of one of the ultimate combo Saab Aeros. But let's run around and take a quick look at this 2006 Saab Aero. Now obviously the Aeros, they get special bumpers, ground effects, all kinds of cool stuff that makes them look really, really good. I think this one's lower because the wheel gaps are perfection right there. Take a look at that. Somebody already put drilled and slotted rotors on there, carbon fiber center caps, painted the wheels, they're not painted very well, and painted the calipers yellow. It actually looks pretty good if you ask me. So it has the Aero side skirts, the spoiler, all the cool things that you get with the fast version. And I mean, it's basically just a Chevy Malibu. It's on the same platform as that, the GM Epsilon platform. It's shared with a few vehicles, but really when you see it on a Saab, you're like, wow, that's special, and it always looks bespoke. So let's go on a quick tour of this thing, see what we find in the car, see what we find in our broken Saab 9.3. But I feel like one fixed Audi was a pretty good price. So one cool thing my 9.5 had that the 9.3 has as well, triple washer sprayers. And these actually work really well. They fog washer fluid all over the windshield for you. You guys can see this thing's been sitting for quite a while. The cowls are full of leaves, the trunk is full of leaves. We had to put the battery on the charger because it's totally dead. And of course, the downpipe here has already been disconnected, which is why we've only moved this. I've only started it one time just to drive it into the shop. And it's pretty loud. It's also pouring coolant everywhere because the coolant reservoir is disconnected, because you have to do that to change the downpipe. And some of you are saying, why would you change the downpipe? Well, because it came with a new stainless steel one that's sitting right there on the roof. So don't worry, we carefully put that on the roof. And the roof's wrapped anyway, it's already wrapped black. So here in the front, we've got the same grille situation from the 9.5, HID headlights. Everything on here, very cool the way Saab did it. Ahead of its time, every time, if you ask me. And it's packaged pretty well, relatively easy to work on. We found one new coil in the car already. I love the door handles. I love all the Saab styling. I think many of you will agree, Saab knows how to style a car. Let's close the door here and just take a quick look at it. I mean, that is a handsome car. They really don't make anything like this anymore. The windows are tinted, aftermarket of course. Like I said, the roof is wrapped and needs re-wrapped. We can just peel the vinyl right off of there. So it would be a nice touch to re-wrap that. It would make the car look even better because it sat outside all its life and the horizontal surfaces, not looking great. All right, we have the original Saab floor mats, LED lights throughout. It's been totally converted. You can see them flashing. The Charger's doing something kind of weird to those. The door panels look amazing. I love their styling. I love that everything's curved, from the window switches to the lock buttons to the grab handle. Everything is built on a curve. The switches are cool. I mean, the handles are nice. And this thing has 171,000 miles on it, and it's all still working. I mean, for the most part, everything's still working. The really cool vents from the 9.5 that are made of a bunch of little tiny blinds, and you can see maybe that all the blinds move in order as I do that. So another nice Saab touch. The glove box, how do you get in? It's not electronic, it's just hidden away. Integrated very well, huge glove box in there, and we did just pull out the manual, 9.3, the rest of the manual book there, and the EFI Live tuning cable. So that is super nice to have. Anybody that tunes GM knows it's either that or HP tuners. And before we had HP tuners, really, we did a lot more EFI Live. I never even had that cable. I had to borrow it from friends. Two-tone power seats that look incredible here in the front, I have to say. Those are honestly pretty good looking seats. Found a receipt. What else did we find in here? Air freshener, some lubrication of some sort. What is this? Some kind of grease. And no, it says dielectric on it. There it is. So a few interesting things. Here's our brand new downpipe if we want to turn up the boost. Go catless. We can also go with pops and bangs on this thing for a little bit more money. Here in the back, great looking two-tone seats again. It's a little dirty, but nothing that a quick little vacuum isn't going to fix. Nothing in the pocket there. I mean, those seats look great, don't they? It looks like a very, very fancy modern car. Two-tone seats are always reserved for the nice stuff. Now, I think these taillights are special. I don't know that much about the 9.3, honestly, because obviously I learned everything about my 9.5 when I had that, but I'm not super well versed on the 9.3 other than the basics. These taillights though are like a special European version, I think. I don't think they were ever sold in the US. But Ben told me, I think he said these came from another car or he imported them so he could have the clear tails. And they are factory. They're not some junky knockoff taillight or anything like that. The trunk opened a minute ago. It doesn't want to open now. Let's try the trunk again, but this time with the very, very, very funky Saab key. Hey, look at that. All right, ooh, she launches open. So we have remote releases for the seat backs. Yep, they work. That's very cool. It's almost the 4th of July, so we got some very patriotic Saab action here that are, I mean, those are going in the cover photo. What do we have here? Blue Streak UF 375. That is a coil pack. And spare tire that's, looks like it's got some battery corrosion on it for some reason. What's over here? Amplifier. And oh, all the accessories that ran this amplifier right there. So here's the factory amplifier for the audio system. The fuse box has a lot of stuff tapped into it, which is a line level converter for audio. And then that Boss amp for a sub and a processor as well. And of course, a lot of trash from sitting outside under a tree for a while. This thing's also got a couple of fart cannons on the back. That is not a stock exhaust. They are a couple little bazookas there. She's got a dent in her. But I bet it works fine. I mean, it sounded great when I started it up and it ran great and it drove great into the shop. So far, I'm pretty happy with this thing. Unlock again. Ooh, we found the first problem. The back door does not unlock. Oh, she's unlocked. Let's take a look at this. Ooh, the Brutus Hyphonics processor. Check that out. Old school bass processor. I don't know if Hyphonics is still around. Let me know in the comments if they are. It's an old school brand. I bet the logo lit up. Those are back from the days of Exile and when everybody was starting their own car audio brand. A Boss 1100 watt amp, I would say that's really about a 250 watt amp based on the size. And maybe a windshield wiper motor right there. What else is in here? Third brake light. Now that we've taken a full walk around of the 9.3 Aero, you guys have seen what's going on with it. Honestly, the tires are in good shape. The wheels are fine, even though they need repainted. It's time to jump into the driver's seat, and that's where all the magic happens in Saab's fighter jet inspired interiors. If you guys remember, Saab was the private jet for the street. The private jet all the dentists drove. So let's get in here and really take a look at this. It's incredible. I love that there's like 400 buttons. That's how you make a car cool. Either a really big screen or a million buttons. And this one, it went with the second option. So the driver's door, we have the electronic mirror controls. Oh yeah, look at that, they work. Love that. Power locks all of the windows right there, I assume. That one's auto, that one's auto, that one feels auto. I think they're all full auto. So shout out to Saab in 06. Rear window lockouts right there. Trunk release right there, it works. You can leave the lights, it looks like, hopefully in the on position. They might not be auto, but I hope they are, honestly. We've got front fog lights and rear fog lights. Really cool the way they laid out the buttons. It makes a lot of sense. Gotta love the vents, as always. The joystick is sweet. A very cool two-tone steering wheel that for some reason feels cushy to this day. Steering wheel controls right here. We got seek up, down, next track, phone, hang up, source, voice controls. I don't think this was before Bluetooth was standard, so I don't think it's Bluetooth. And a volume control. Anything on the back? Nothing on the back. Cruise controls over here. Turn signals, obviously. High beams. When I turn on the high beams, the lights dim in the car. Oh, because the HID's fired up. You guys can see on the back of the Pacer, the HIDs just came to life and really kind of sucked the car down to zero there for a minute. Anyway, cruise control right there, up, down, on. Really nice cruise, and wipers are hiding out over here, and they might be, it actually doesn't look like it. I don't see a rain sensor up in here at all. So unfortunately, no rain sensing. Lighted visors, nice. Big fan of that. But back to the wipers, pretty basic, nothing special about them right there. Speed control in the end, what a cool switch. That has to be an incredibly rare switch. The gauges are incredible. Look how simple they are, and they look clean and nice in 2024. Can you believe it? Tach right there, 6,000 RPM rev limit, 177,000 miles. I was off, it's more than I thought. 160 mile an hour speedometer, boost, water temp, and a fuel gauge right there. Honestly, it's probably everything you need to know, and it shows a bunch of different information in that little tiny square right there in the center. So I think there's a second display right here. I don't know if it ever actually shows anything. Let's turn it on. Oh, there's the cluster. The battery is basically dead. I went ahead and hooked the NOCO up to this thing so we could actually light it up because the battery was too dead to use the computers and radio and basically everything. Nothing was really turning on with just the charger hooked up. All right, so we're gonna turn on the instrument panel lights. That way we can light up all this really cool green lighting in the cabin. Saab loves their green lighting. I still haven't seen anything out of this. I wonder if it's probably that screen, but the backlight doesn't work or something. This is the panel lighting. It sure is. You can see it getting dimmer and getting brighter again. Let's try night panel. There we go, look at that. Everything shut off except for the speedometer. Not as cool as my Saab 9.5, but still pretty cool. The 9.5 would shut the speedometer off to like 60 or 80 and then light up the segments as you went. But just turning on night panel basically turned all the other lights all the way down. So we'll turn it off and you can see all the lights come back, and then we'll turn it back on and you can see everything dims down, but it is still on. How cool is that? Radio, simple. Looks really cool. Seek, a keypad for direct dial, and a built-in phone. Like there's a phone button. CD, which the CD changer is down here. It looks like possibly a 6-disc changer. Nothing's happening when I push the buttons. And of course, auto climate control, dual zone, very nice, and I love the green. Now, for the one part that everybody is here for. I know you guys are just begging for me to do it, and it's the joysticks on the vents. Again, you can see them moving all around. Oh, it's not what you wanted to see, is it? You wanted to see me do this. Ah, the cup holder is incredible. It's such a cool cup holder. Many of you are asking, how does it do that without twisting your finger? Well, where you put your finger is a little bearing, and when you push on it, your finger stays still and all this other magic happens all at once. Boom! So the cup holder, obviously, amazing. Storage, 12-volt accessory. Storage again. The shift knob from a Chevy Cobalt SS. That's absolutely the same shift knob. The same reverse retention ring there, reverse lockout ring. Of course, throw it in reverse right there with the ring. Otherwise, you get first. Really cool thing. The passenger grab handle here. And the e-brake match. How sweet is that? The ignition down here in the center, obviously very cool, and it matches that crazy key design. Another cup holder, and of course, it's a Saab. You should be able to cover your cup holders up. Oh, you flip this, and then you cover your cup holder up. Check that out. That is one sneaky cup holder you got there, Saab. Center console, power in there, coin holder in there, aux in there. Ooh, very fancy. If you can see the aux in, it's right beside the 12-volt accessory socket. So a wonderful center console with a vent on the back for the back passengers right there. HomeLink, can't beat having HomeLink on there. Auto dimming mirror as well. Sunroof, it all works. It slides, it opens, it does all of the cool tricks that you came here to see. I think that's a cabin temp sensor right there. Only makes sense. And of course, interior lights right there, and door, lights on, door, and off for the full cabin light selection. Does the passenger get lights? Oh, they do. And since we're over here talking about all the coolest cup holders in the world, I sure have to mention the ones in the back as well that slide out of the center and flip down. So that is the interior of the Saab 9.3, and there's a shade for the sunroof as well. Everything works great. Still can't get over how funky that key is. All right, over here in the front, we got Eric putting the original downpipe back on. So if you want an aftermarket downpipe, cool, that one's gonna be for sale. We're not going to turn this thing up like we were planning on originally. We're just gonna put it back together and take it for a spin, hopefully. Because it actually seems like it should be no big deal to get this going. So the downpipe bolts were out. Just 13s, right?
Yes, sir.
13s and a ratchet wrench and
some anti-seize.
And some anti-seize, and you back together.
Per your request.
Yes, sir. And of course, we're going to go get a little piece of hose, put the coolant reservoir back in, and we'll be ready to actually run this thing instead of just starting it and driving it in the shop, because I want to take it for a drive.
Be a lot quieter, shouldn't it?
Oh man, it'll be way quieter. We were listening to that wonderful engine sing out of its hood. So this coolant reservoir, how does she go? Ooh, where's this hose go? There's a spare hose sitting here in the back.
Those are the good ones.
I assume it's the one that is the overflow. Oh yeah, it's the overflow. Okay, let's make sure the coolant sensor's in. It's not in there very well, but it's in there.
One of
So
these.
that goes down. This goes into its slot right here.
This goes down all the way down here.
What? Oh, that's where that bolt goes. So he had
One
to
of them, my God.
he had to bend that to make that work. I'm gonna untape this coolant line here. A lot of tape on there. Oh, come on. I really did think we were gonna go ahead and do that downpipe and do the tune, and then we were like, you know, why would we spend a bunch of extra money on this car? Probably a mistake to spend a bunch of money and then turn up the boost and blow it up. This one. Yes, sir. And then somewhere we have this one.
Yeah.
Do you think it possibly holds the coolant reservoir? I mean, the coolant reservoir literally snapped into place.
Yeah, I don't see where.
Hey, you have a razor blade on you by chance?
No,
Razor blade, man. This clearly needs to go in here.
I'm not allowed to carry those.
Oh, I see. After the incident.
It was one time.
It was one time.
It's gotta come out of one of these with like the welded nut on it.
You would think. This is the worst knife in history.
It's because you never sharpen it.
Yeah, I just use it to cut on everything and never sharpen it.
It's on a saw.
What do they say? Saw towards yourself?
You want me to stick my thumb over there?
I got it. Oh, yeah, then it'll cut because your thumb always gets cut. Eric's thumb is a main character in the movie.
You've cut both of them.
That's not accurate.
Okay, you cut one. I cut the other.
You know how the cameraman never dies? Eric's thumb always gets cut.
We cut it in half.
That did happen.
It was in half.
That did happen.
I finished the job.
You finished the job. I tried to take you to the hospital. Whatever. Eric didn't stop.
Cost me $700.
Okay, so the one thing we need to figure out is, does this go here and the other one go here, or does this one go here? So we're gonna need to take a quick...
Seems like they wouldn't overlap. That seems dumb.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like that's where that goes because it sits correctly?
That seems right, yeah.
Look at that, GM 23 model year 08. And I wonder if somebody changed that hose. Because I've got some hose and then we'll be good to go. Can you guys believe my luck? The hood strut, the one hood strut on this thing works. Unbelievable. All right, with that said, we do have the coolant reservoir hooked back up, which means it's time to start this again and see what happens. I don't think it's gonna start. Maybe we can jump it. Oh, gotta get reps in. Are those down reps?
I'm just making sure I breathe.
All right, we got the down pipe hooked back up, the coolant reservoir also tied back in. The hoses do cross. This one goes to here and this one goes to there. So we have a hose on there now as well. And we should, hopefully we have one more second of dope coat to start this thing. So let's jump in here and try it. I think it's gonna work. Yeah, it's way quieter. It's still pretty loud with that exhaust.
Yeah, it's all coming out of under the hood now.
Yeah.
Think it's running?
I think it's, oh yeah, pull the dope coat, for sure.
I hate pulling them too quick and make it time.
Yeah. This battery's not actually bad like all the other ones we just dealt with. All right. Get this thing up. There you go. I guess proud. Send it. Here's our door trim we need to put back in. Yeah, let's go clean this thing up. I'm excited. All right, guys, Eric is driving this thing, and I know he's already taken it out for a test drive.
Michaela drove.
But it's holding temp perfectly. How's it drive so far?
It's very Cobalt SSE.
Very Cobalt SSE, super light clutch. I'm a big fan of its clutch, honestly. And does it make epic power?
I'd say it's better than a Cobalt SS, yes.
I mean, it should be. It's got 2 extra cylinders. 2 extra cylinders.
The math.
So here we go. Full pull. Oh, do that again. Shift. How'd you get the shift knob in your hand?
I didn't, obviously. It's still on the car.
He shifted the shift knob right off of it.
It's that fast.
It's so fast. This is the fastest car we've ever owned.
I tried to Honda it.
You have to shift like the Ferrari guys. Wow. 3rd gear's a monster. Oh man.
It's a long gear.
That feels great. And with all this air, we're really cleaning the car out. We're doing some work.
We're doing something.
And we gotta go wash this thing, and I think it's ready to go. Yeah, you fixed it. That's what happens when they have a Cobalt SS knob.
They're in the back.
It's got a stock shifter. You can shift it with like 1 finger.
I didn't pull that hard. I think I just hooked it here.
All right, here we go, Mexico. Oh yeah, blue tires. Oh wow.
Your third hit's hard.
Oh wow, this transmission is great. this is the first time I've ever driven a 9.3. And I'm kind of in love with this. I remember thinking the same thing the first time I drove my 9.5, being like, wow, this is a really good car. They built kind of perfection in sedans. Ooh, I don't want to kill it. The battery probably will not restart this car. But all right, here's first. And we don't need any boost in first. And now we're in second, and let's give it just a little bit. Oh, 40, 50, 60, 65, 7. Second gear rolls to 70. Good thing we were in Mexico while we were doing that, that's for sure. Go back to night panel. Oh, so cool. So cool. This car is awesome. It needs an alignment, that's for sure. If we let go of the wheel, she likes to pull to the right a little bit right there. It's not terrible. If there's a lot of crown, it's terrible. But on this road, not too bad. But for the most part, I think it needs shocks. I don't know. It's a little...
That might be the problem.
It feels really solid at the same time.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel bouncy. I don't know, but either way.
It's definitely lowered because...
Yeah, it is lowered. It is. Yep. But it feels great. And third gear is magical. Third gear goes to 100, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it goes to 100.
You get 40 or 50 mile an hour out of third by itself.
And it pulls so hard in third. Third's usually the magical boost by gear anyway, where everybody tunes to let you have all of the boost in third gear. So that's where cars really do shine. But it's a cruiser. It's got an amazing third gear. I kind of love this thing. Way better than I was expecting. So that's what you get when you buy a 177,000 mile Saab 9.3 that just needs a few little things and put it back together in 15 minutes. So we don't have a lot of time in this. We're gonna start cleaning it up and start getting this thing a little bit closer to what it was from the factory. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. All right, we just got back from the car wash where we did a little bit of cleaning, and this thing is completely turned around inside. Still haven't figured out why the radio doesn't turn on. That's why we had these out to check fuse 14. Fuse 14 is totally fine, but everything's been wiped down. She's been totally cleaned up, and she's been running for the last hour. So the real question now is it going to restart when we shut this thing down? Here we go. Starts right up. Not as fast as when the NOCO hits them with 18 volts, but it sure starts like a Saab should.
Yep.
Wow. Too bad about the radio. I don't get it. The CD changer has its own fuse, and it doesn't work either. Everything else works. Oh, and the info display up top is on the radio too.
Yep.
Oh well.
Can't have it all.
Can't have it all. It's got ice cold air conditioning and a cup holder.